Hello, seventh grade. How are you? So today we are doing lesson 2.1 in our Earth Science unit. And it's going to be actually pretty easy because it is a serious review on the conduction of thermal energy, which is what we just finished up. So we should be good on this. So, all right, hang on. Gotta hide all this stuff. All right, so today is Wednesday, April 15th. Our agenda today, you should have finished your bell work question, then watch this, and then do your activity sheet on the Google form. It's a very quick one. And you also need to do your vocabulary entry for today. Assignments, please turn them into Camp for Attendance. That includes your bell ringer. Everything is due tonight by midnight. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain how heat spreads through a material or between materials in the transfer of kinetic energy. So, quick review. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. And thermal energy, or heat energy, is definitely a kinetic energy because it's dealing with the molecular motion of the molecules in a substance. So, it's not just about how hot something is, but how fast the molecules are moving. So when molecules are in motion, it's called thermal energy. When molecules have more thermal energy, they are in a higher amount of motion. And when molecules have less thermal energy, there is a lower amount of motion. So if we have our scale of solids to liquids to gases, solids have the least amount of thermal energy and gases have the most. So let's connect things to real life. Okay, so what are some examples that you can think of in which thermal energy is transferred between objects? So I've come up with 3 of them. See if you can come up with another 1 or 2. And that's actually going to be tomorrow's bell work question for 7th grade. So on this one, I've got some hot chocolate and I've put my spoon in it. And after a while, the spoon gets hot. Okay, so the energy that was inside the hot chocolate for the thermal energy transferred into the metal spoon. Now, here I've got a picture of a person cooking some soup, and they are not using a metal kind of spoon because just like the hot chocolate, if I use a metal spoon to cook with, it's going to transfer that energy into my hand or into it's going to transfer the thermal energy into the spoon, the middle of the spoon, and then into my hand. That's why the outside of the pot gets hot. Okay. On this one, I've got a little clip art of a lady ironing, and she has burnt her hand. Have you ever burnt your hand or anything else when you've been working with something hot? Okay. All right. So remember, you need to come up with 2 ideas for tomorrow. All right. Vocabulary. You have a vocabulary board to write in your interactive notebook. It is also on the materials section that is in this assignment. So conduction is the transfer of energy through an object to another. And that can be any kind of energy, but for the purposes of this lesson, we are only talking about thermal energy. For the conduction to happen, 2 objects or the 2 pieces of matter must be in contact with another. Okay, and that could be air, that could be a solid, that could be a liquid. Any of those things are made up of matter. Okay, so we have a demonstration to watch today, and I want you to be looking for some patterns into what and why you see what's happening. I'm going to shrink me so we can see it. Sorry, hang on just a second. Oh, I am very sorry. I thought I had this all linked up. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so what just happened? Okay, we're going to go back, and now that we've seen it once, we're going to watch it, and I'm going to be doing a little bit more talking about it. Okay, so we're going to start with our material. I'm going to make it big. You don't have to see me. Okay, so we have our hot plate. We have a metal bar that's going to be connected on our ring stand. Okay, and the way he's going to set it up is that the metal rod is going to be touching the top of the hot plate. So you can see right here that the hot plate is touching, or is being touched by the rod at one end. Okay, now he's going to be putting some small pieces of vegetable shortening on the end of the rod that is not touching the hot plate. Okay, what did you think would happen? Okay, we saw what happened. So now he's going to turn it on. Okay, in 10 minutes, because they have a little, they've sped up the time. Okay, the energy from the hot plate, the heat, is transferring into the iron, or to the metal rod. It is conducting into that metal rod, and then that is going to that heat is going to transfer down the length of the rod and into the shortening. Now we know shortening will melt pretty quickly. Okay, and you can actually see the melting bits right here. Okay, so why did it take longer for this last one to fall? Okay, it's because it takes time for the molecules in the rod to heat up and to start moving, and that transfers that energy all the way down to here. So it started here as hot, and this was still relatively cool, and then that continued to go on. All right, let's go back to our lesson. Okay. All right, so what were the results of this experiment? Okay, questions that we're thinking about here. What happened to the balls of shortening? What was the pattern? Okay, the pattern, the heat source was here, heat transferred here, and number 1 fell, then 2, then 3, then 4. The heat source should be down here. Okay, were the shortening balls over the heat source? No, they weren't. Okay, they were down at the other end. The heat source was down here. What does this tell us about the rod? That tells us that this metal can conduct thermal energy. Where did the thermal energy in the rod come from? It came from the heat source. Okay. All right. Now, your assignment. You have a vocabulary entry to make. That's an easy one. And then you have a very short few question assignment to do on Google Classroom. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you later.